Series race, followed by Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs. William Byron is the current Cup Series points leader, followed by Hamlin and Christopher Bell. Next on the Cup Series schedule, Talladega a week from next Sunday. PGA at the Masters, Rory McIlroy birdied on the first hole to hold off Justin Rose, becoming the sixth golfer to achieve the career Grand Slam, winning his fifth major and first since 2014. Both McIlroy and Rose finished at 11 under. Patrick Reed 9 under. Scotty Scheffler 8 under. The Chicago Bears have signed cornerback Kyler Gordon to a 3-year, $40 million extension with $31.25 million guaranteed. The 25-year-old is now the NFL's highest paid slot corner. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. The place to go for sipping rosés with seltzers on ice, making margaritas with your favorite tequilas. It's warm out, let's go. Our prices are low on spirits, beer, and wine. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Don't miss your chance to spring into deals at Lowe's. Right now, get a free 60-volt Toro battery when you purchase a select 60-volt Toro electric mower. Plus, buy 3 19.3-ounce vegetable and herb Bonnie plants for just $10. It's time to give your yard a grow-up. Lowe's. We help. You save. Valid through 4/23. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Get the SportsGrid mobile app and get gaming strategies and information faster than you can say, "No, honey, I know how to gamble," when your wife asks for $10 to get a scratcher. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the two best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, listen, I don't know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, SiriusXM Channel 159.
Oh, the best of every day now officially underway. It's Moneyline, SportsGrid Network. Come on now, it's Donnie Rightside. It's Kevin Walsh. Away we go into the afternoon. This is great. Today is fantastic. The NBA season, we've been waiting so long for it to begin, Kevin. It's finally underway. We had one game that we had to take a look at yesterday, which is like, you know what? When the NBA really cares about games, it's a pretty cool product. And that was the Golden State Warriors, and that was the Los Angeles Clippers. I told you before, the lowest ranked regular season in history every year for me is the NBA. The playoffs, fantastic all the way through. Getting excited about some of the playoff matchups, which we will take a look at. But I just wanted to set the table for that there. The Masters yesterday, Rory McIlroy won it. We'll set the table and leave it there. But I got to tell you, it's hot topics that I want to dip into. And there might be not any hotter topic than the Tennessee Volunteers and Nico Iamaleava basically being a pain in the you-know-what, Kevin, to the Tennessee Volunteers. And I know you got, college football today and all this plays into it. But the fact of watching now that we are at the point where a starting quarterback is like, you know what? I'm going to hold you hostage. I know I signed a contract here. I want more. Even though I didn't play well, I almost want double than what I was getting last year. You know what? I'm not going to practice, Kevin, and I'm not going to show up to the spring game. And Tennessee goes, good. Pack your bags. Don't want to see you again. This sport in the last 2 years has just dropped on a dime with what we used to anticipate college football being. So when you saw Nico Iamaleava basically thrown out of Tennessee, how did you react to it, or what did you find?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a very surprising thing. I think we still are just in the most insane spot as it pertains to the portal. The fact that college football has multiple portals is very bizarre. I think what's incredible, though, is how much people still truly despise kids getting paid. Every time there's a new element, everyone's initial reaction is, the gall, the disgrace, ruining everything I've ever seen, Meanwhile, Dion, who's going to try and maybe bring Nico in, was wink, wink, flirt with the Dallas Cowboys. Or Dan Hurley, a through and through college guy, last year had Woj up in the numbers up through the LA Lakers.
Yep.
So, as per usual, whenever one of these stories breaks, and it's kind of a new aspect, people go right back to their roots, which is it's all the kids' fault. How dare they try and maximize their dollars? And it's embarrassing.
Yeah. See, I don't mind anymore because, I didn't want the kids to get paid per se in college. I just thought, college is different than the pros. It's the way it's always been. That's the way it should be here at this point. But I've also come from a different angle because I think, the confluence of who cares about which side it's on, I think it's changing. There were people out there and still now man, I love it. Kids should get paid. And I go, man, this is ruining college football. I say, no. You wanted this because you knew it was going to ruin college football. No, I didn't want that. And from my side of it, it's you know what? The bigger teams with the bigger payrolls will turn into sort of professional football, and I don't mind it. I love at the end of the season, when we get 12 blue bloods is really what it should be in a college football playoff. I'm in. You know what I really like, Kevin? The top 4 seeds in the NCAA March Madness making it to the Final Four. And what do we find the product to be? Absolutely sensational. So if it strengthens up bigger teams, I'm fine with it. But you know me. The NIL, Kevin, was supposed to be free burritos for the year, man. That was what the NIL was supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It's not.
Yeah, and then I know that's your belief, but the reality, Donnie, is it wasn't the kids who ruined that. It wasn't Justin Fields, if that's when we were doing NIL. I might be a little bit. But Donnie, it wasn't. It was all of a sudden it was open season, and the teams went, "Wow, we don't have to hide. We're paying them anymore. Hey, I'll give you $3 million. Show up to my campus."
Yes,
right. And then
that's the issue.
So again, wasn't the kids' fault. Everyone spent all the time in the world blaming the kids. What I'm interested in, or maybe for you, is. Now, admittedly, I don't want to assume too much about your stance on the whole subject.
Yes.
I have a feeling, I'm assuming you're not Team Nico. That's my assumption, Tony. But you are team, every single player who is worth anything should be in the portal every single season. So realistically, I feel like you should love what Nico's doing. I'll add this one other thing. Micah Parsons is insane. The fact that he was trying to clown Nico for holding out when 1,000% he will be holding out 2 to 3 months from now is a legitimate crazy move out of Micah Parsons.
And he would have held out from Penn State too as well if there was NIL back in the days. So,
he didn't play his last year of college football.
He is pure insanity at this point. But from a Nico perspective, there's 2 ways to look at it because since the portal is there, I'm serious with this. It's weird. Every single player, regardless if they wanted to transfer or not, should put their name in. You might get a phone call. Hey, look, I know you're the backup cornerback at Alabama. I'm calling you from Penn State. We need a quarterback position. We got $225,000 up if you want to come here. And even if you don't start, that's your money in the NIL. Well, Alabama's only giving me $50,000. I'm leaving. That's up to them. Here's the thing I don't like about it from Nico's perspective. Now you're hearing the backstory because when I saw, I was like, wow, this is interesting. Nico just didn't show up to the football game on Saturday, which is a practice game, basically, or the spring game, and they threw him off the football team. Now the layers are coming into it. He must have been, him and his father, such a pain in the ass over the past 2 months. We're at the end of our rope here. You're a good quarterback. I don't even want you in my program anymore, which could have been different. Let's just say, Kevin, at the end of the season, they make the college football playoff. And we didn't hear the rumblings now that we're hearing, Nico's I just might sit out against Ohio State unless I get $2 million more, which would have been an unbelievable precedent to set at that point if Tennessee called their bluff because the game wouldn't have changed anyway. Nico stunk in that game. They got beaten, so be it, right? But now if Nico would have played this out, Kevin, and said, I know where the portal numbers are. They understand my stance. It's up to me to be the best quarterback I can be. I'm going to show up to practice every day for Tennessee. I'm going to play in that spring game. But, Coach, when the portal opens up, I'm going to put my name in there. Still going to work hard. I think I'm worth more. And if I get it, I'm leaving. If I'm not, and you don't want to pay me, I'm still going to be a Tennessee volunteer quarterback. Wouldn't that have been a better way to actually play this out than getting thrown off your team? Now saying ooh, I got a couple $1 million. Now I have no money right now. I hope somebody scoops me up for my $4 million.
Yeah, but don't you think that was Tennessee's fault, Donnie? Who completely... I don't think Nico was saying, pay me today or I'm going to hit the portal. It seems like Tennessee was, whoa, now leave. Now, I think the indictment is that they were like, okay, he's actually not worth it. Like, he's just not been good enough. And we're not going to up the number. Now, or maybe Tennessee and Josh Heupel believe that they are trying to hold the line as it pertains to college athletics and what could become the next wave here and things of that nature. But I don't think Nico was dead set on leaving Tennessee. But
No,
Nico
I don't
also
think he
wasn't great
I thought
last year. So
I thought
maybe
they wouldn't call his bluff. That's what I think it came down to. But again, I don't think this was like an overnight thing. Like if you're talking about back in December, the playoff, you know as well as I do, Kevin. December, January, February, March, right into April. You know his data was like there's calling Heupel. Hey man, told you $3.5 million. You better call me on the phone, or we're gonna have issues. And like just sooner or later, it's like, dude, I can get in the portal right now and get a guy I think is going to be serviceable. I got a hot tail recruit already in camp. I don't need this headache as a coach. Like, and where does this leave me as a coach, Kevin? Where the night before the Alabama game, hey, I ain't showing up tomorrow, coach, unless I get an extra $750 in my account tomorrow. Like, sooner or later, you have to put a stop to it. But understand this. If the kid was worth his salt in any fashion where he was worth that much, Tennessee would have paid him. They just got angry at the way he played in the big games and his overall statistics, which, again, rightfully so. Each side has a right of path. They chose both their paths here and heading off into it. We'll be right back. It's Moneyline, people.
Download the SportsGrid mobile app.
Just do it.
You might as well get it.
We're not going to shut up about it until you do.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. A man is facing charges after authorities say he broke into the Pennsylvania governor's mansion in the middle of the night, set a fire that left significant damage, and forced Governor Josh Shapiro, his family, and guests to evacuate the building during the Jewish holiday of Passover. Firefighters put out the fire early Sunday morning and no injuries were reported. The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Cody Ballmer, was arrested nearby later in the day. President Trump's doctor says he is fully fit to serve as commander-in-chief as the White House released results Sunday of Trump's recent physical exam. The 78-year-old Trump is 20 pounds lighter since his checkup as president in 2020. Trump turned 79 on June 14th. Family, friends, and the public will remember George Foreman during a memorial service in his hometown of Houston. George Foreman IV, one of the 5 sons of the boxing legend, along with Houston Mayor John Whitmire and others, are expected to speak at the service today.
I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is nice because you can just keep doing you. So keep on using that broken phone charger because it occasionally works. Keep quoting something you heard on a podcast as your own. Keep ignoring your sister's texts while you drive and after. And when baggage claim says, have a great trip, keep on saying, you too. And keep driving safely. And you could save with Snapshot from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
Let's make something crystal clear. The winning edge has nothing to do with increasing good luck. Luck has nothing to do with it. It's sports gaming strategies and information. You want luck? Flip a coin. You want to win? Flip it here. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Hey, right back at it here. Talking Nico Iamaleava. How about that? Didn't think we'd be bringing up that name in the offseason, but it's just interesting when it hits where a team and NIL really went out of whack, and it's everybody's fault. It's the players' fault. It's the coach's fault. The university's fault. And it's the NCAA's fault how we got to this. And by the way, people, there's no solving this. It's never going to, hey, you know what? Congress has to get around. Let me tell you something. 80-year-old people in Congress trying to see how kids get paid in college football or how gambling actually works, and they make the rule. You don't want that. The NCAA is like, we don't want to enforce it because we can't enforce anything. We don't have enough people to enforce it. They were hoping the institutions take control, knowing that they would run wild. Like, again, the original part of the NIL was kids would have the opportunity to get paid, which means, again, And I joke about, hey, let me get a burrito at the local pizza shop. It's that, hey, Booster gave him a couple $100. Hey, we look the other, it's not even a big deal anymore. Local car dealership where they had your poster up saying, hey, we support Tennessee football and it's Nico Iamaleava. Here's your, Hellcat that you can drive around. All fine and good. Or this, Kevin, you know what? Man, I just got a phone call from Dr. Pepper. They want me to be the national spokesman for this college football season. They're going to pay me $1 million to do that, which we see the athletes on it. Not what Kevin has turned out, and exactly right. Show up at my campus, $3 million for this season. You can leave 30 days into it. You can fail out. You can fail every drug test. You can underperform. It's still your money. I just want to recruit you, and this is how I'm going to get it done. That's where the disconnect comes in.
Mm-hmm. And I think it is. Look, would we agree, Donnie, the belief is kids were being paid by schools long before NIL was approved?
Correct. Yes.
And I think what happened is once they approved NIL, all the teams that were, for lack of a better term, cheating went, oh, I can do this out in the open. Because I laugh when you talk about local pizza shops because, it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
But if you let's take Paige Beckers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Paige gets a Gatorade deal, a Nike deal. She signs with Unrivaled as a part owner.
Yep.
But it's, UConn also gave her $6 million to. No, what do you mean? Why did UConn give her $6 million?
Correct.
That's not and again, it was an overcorrection from something that was, in hindsight, indefensible, which was, even if you are a superstar in college, you cannot profit off of it in any capacity. That Tim Tebow or Vince Young or Tyler Hansborough were just supposed to go out there solely for the love of the game, when all of those guys, Donnie, are college icons.
Correct. And there's so many disconnects that you can have. But as we pointed out, like the national campaign, or Nike's going to give you your own shoe at this point, or a dealership's going to give you, again, a Hellcat. That was supposed to encompass it. It was not like the university was supposed to be like, this is the greatest thing ever. We can't pay these athletes. Hopefully our boosters can pay them, and hopefully local businesses can pay them. And even better, if they come here and they're a superstar and we put them on a platform on a big stage, that State Farm will come and pay them, and that's how they get their money and their funds at this point. Because the way it's set up now is you just have a salary cap for your team and NIL money, and who wants $2 million, who wants $3 million, who wants $1 million here, but not even name, image, and likeness. It's just that you play here at this point. That's not name, image, and likeness. So it's interesting how it got sold as these kids are going to be able to earn an opportunity to get funds here because they can sell their name, image, and likeness, and to turn into just play here like it's on a contract. So it's off the rails. It's never going to get solved. But this is where. Yeah, go ahead.
Just since I am fascinated to see what the conversation, and maybe it won't be big. It will be around AJ Dybonsa this upcoming college, or I know we're a ways away.
Yeah,
but you know how, Donnie, in the pros, right? When a guy's really struggling, we go, and he's getting that much money, right? Like when Lindor was struggling for the Mets, right? And you're like, are you kidding me? And the amount that they pay him and this, that, and the third. And maybe Dybonsa won't struggle. Maybe he'll just be the best player in college basketball as a freshman. But he is getting $9 million is the rumored money. I know people try and say it's just a rumor. But like for 1 year, there's a 0% chance he is retained at BYU. It is far more likely that and I know they're supposed to be great, but if they struggled, he shuts the whole thing down and says, see you in June when I'm selected inside that top 5. I wonder if, even though these guys get paid, Donnie, right? We don't usually, I feel, hear about, and you paid this guy that. Like we've not hit that part of it. Dybonsa is going to be making more money than pros, comfortably.
And the coach, the whole program, football team. Yeah.
The rest of the roster.
Which is incredible. But then this is, if you have the money to spend and big boosters, you can do that. It's just interesting it's turned into this. Granted, they would have gotten around it anyway. Like, you know what? We want you to come to Miami. And they go, okay, Life Wallet guy over here, Ruiz, who's the lawyer. That's my company. Like, I'm a booster. Now I can pay you $5 million if I want to. So it would, like, well, hey, it's Life Wallet. He's sponsored by him. Yeah, but it's because he went to Miami. Like Life Wild's not going to sponsor a USC athlete because of why they all at Miami at that point. So there's ways that you could get around it. But the whole thought process was like when DJ Uyunglele turned up on the first time for that Diet Dr. Pepper commercial with Dr. Pepper. Wow, look, these kids are getting paid here. But always under belief, like, that's because people knew who he was. Now guys that people never heard of and never will, like, yeah, man, made $1.5 million at Alabama last year. There's no market appeal anywhere, but just because the football coach needed him on the team, a booster paid him, and away you went with that. Is what it is at that point. So who knows if it's going to change, and I'm sure more crazy antics will start to come up. But we are waiting for next year's college football playoff where somebody does sit out because they wanted more money. It's like, you know what? I'm going pro anyway. You don't want to pay me. I already banked $3 million. I want an extra $1 million to play in this game. I'm sitting this one out. So you know it's going to eventually get there at that point. Yesterday, Kevin, as we'll bring up here as we're coming up to a break in just a moment, the Masters enthralling all weekend. And I just want to say this. The only bet I had was Rory McIlroy, top 20. Dang, you hit that easy, Donnie. He won the tournament. Now, I had it on day number 1, which he folded up shop to shoot even par, which knocked him out of the top 20 by 1 stroke here. That's how I lost. So I actually appreciate, Kevin, that Rory McIlroy won this tournament because it just drives that needle in deeper for me going like, this guy won a tournament. And I couldn't get one of the easiest wagers possible where the guy was 4 under heading into a par 5 on the back 9 where he just was going to cruise into a 6 or 7 under. He shot even par on that day. Credit him. Huge Friday, huge Saturday, unbelievable Sunday. We'll talk Masters next right here on Moneyline.
Get the SportsGrid mobile app. It's much easier to carry than your lucky horseshoe.
And you won't get stopped at the airport.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1925, the first regular season Cubs game is broadcast on WGN Radio. In the 1980s, Cubs broadcaster Harry Carey became a national figure, broadcasting games on WGN TV.
Holy cow! What a towering home run!
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
New University of Ottawa research says if you're a member of the Polar Bear Club and like to take a dip in the ocean during sub-zero weather, you might actually be extending your life. This study finds acclimating your body to repeated exposure to immersion in cold water for an hour over 7 days supercharges cellular resistance, the body's natural mechanisms cleaning out damaged tissue. If you want to try this for yourself and you're not quite ready to jump into the Arctic Ocean, maybe just try a cold shower. Follow me at G Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Sports Rage tonight.
Cam, how many picks are you up to right now for the Masters? Yesterday you said you were at 87 current bets. What do you have right now?
I'm thinking 70 to 80 bets currently in my account.
Babano, it's like a common night for our boy Babano.
Yeah. Oh, Babano's email. Yeah, no, this guy's got 40 goal props, like let alone games, Gabe. Like, yeah, Babano hits it hard.
It's Sports Rage tonight with Gabe Morency. Weekdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
There are too many people addicted to their phones these days, unless it's to look or listen to the SportsGrid mobile app. In fact, you should delete all your apps but ours.
Your wife texts you too much anyway.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Masters, Rory McIlroy, what a tournament overall. He wins it, he doesn't, he wins it, he doesn't, he wins it, he doesn't. Back and forth, back and forth, back and snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap. My goodness, one of you. Fantastic. People out there, old school guys know that one here. But having said that, Rory, fantastic TV on Sunday. It's hard to say like you've been there as an athlete on that type of stage to have something in your back pocket, lose it, find it again, lose it again, find it again in the biggest moment. We love that as like a human race, watching that type of struggle, which in our day-to-day lives is like, okay, can you make an extra sale? Can you get to work on time? Can you put in extra effort at work at this point? Work on the biggest stage in front of millions of people with millions of dollars at stake. playing a game. And also, this isn't like, hey, man, I can't believe he blew that layup, which, again, Rory missed a couple easy putts. Some of the shots he hit with his iron play were absolutely phenomenal. If anybody's even played golf, not at a high level, not at a mediocre level, at a bad level, can really appreciate how hard it is to hit a golf ball the way the professionals hit a golf ball and do it routinely and like it's no big deal. I'm always floored. And at the Masters, which is the true shot-making test here, he had some phenomenal shots and phenomenally, like, he just did what at this moment? I enjoyed my time watching the Masters yesterday, no doubt about it.
Yeah, so I was following along. Again, the Masters is one of the most incredible things in that it's hardly made for TV. And truly, I'd much rather bomb on this event than any other because of the way they act. But I had the entire final round on. Volume was here and there because Clippers Warriors was demanding of a lot of attention. But the stress that I felt watching Rory on 18 and in the playoff while having absolutely not a single dollar on the line was pretty remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it wasn't about who would win. It was basically about whether or not Rory McIlroy was going to be the same person. I guess neither way he was the same person. He either would finally win the Masters jacket and the green jacket, but you could just tell when he missed that putt on 18, he wanted to be anywhere else than there in that moment. He just, I got to get out of here, man. This is terrible. And he obviously got it done, and you saw he broke down immediately after winning the whole thing. It's a remarkable win because he had 4 double bogeys. I think they said he was the first person certainly to win the Masters, if not a major, with 4 double bogeys.
Yeah.
You think about how well that means he played outside of those 4 holes, right? He was obviously fantastic, but lost in the whole thing because Bryson ended up falling apart. We were 2 holes in and Rory was not in first.
It was like, oh, he's done. Yep.
He immediately sacrificed the lead. If I'm not mistaken, a 2 or 3 shot lead entering the day, he immediately gave up. So it's just one of the more incredible runs. I guess the only way for him to break through, Donnie, was the most painful, excruciating way.
The best way.
One could imagine.
The best way. And the reason I bring that up, too, is because we'll go over a couple instances in a second, but the Philadelphia Eagles winning 2 world championships. The first one was so much more memorable, per se, than the second one. Well, obviously, the first one usually. But the fact that it felt like the Eagles had to earn it and you had to sweat that all the way through. Where it was different watching the Kansas City game, which was so much actually more enjoyable because by the half, you're like, they won the championship. I just want to see them finish it out, and it was great to watch. But let me ask you this question, too, and the people out there, whether you're in the chat box or not. Have you ever had a point in your life where there was so much pressure on you and you folded and or did great? Because I'll go with a quick one for myself. Not necessarily about football. I made a lot of big catches in football, late game catches and all that stuff that's worth interesting. But the one I remember, again, it's from golf. I didn't pick up golf, Kevin, until I was 15 years old, late in the spring, and just messed around. I ended up, quitting baseball in high school to play golf my junior year. I wasn't a great golfer, but I put a lot of time in. By my senior year, I was a decent golfer. I was the number 1 on my team. And just to give you a little bit of background, my high school's been around since the early 1960s.
Yeah.
2025 today. Only one season in all of those years that the golf team had a winning record. It was my senior year, and we won the conference, which is crazy to go, 50, 60, whatever years there is. Never had a winning season until that year. But I always bring this one up. We played Haddonfield, which is a really good golf team. Never beat them. We never beat that team. On the road against them, and this was, I think, the 8th or 9th hole. You only play 9 holes in match play in high school golf when I was in the 1990s. Kevin, there was one where I was up 1 stroke on the best kid in the conference. I was in the middle of the fairway. And I remember swinging my golf club and not actually feeling it and figuring I just might have hit the shank of my life, Kevin, within 5 feet of the pin from 160 yards out. Never in my life, I said, I don't know how I hit that shot. It should have just been a flub or a yank into the woods, and it went dead perfect. We'll talk about it more.
This is the
place.
This is where you'll get expert perspectives and sports gaming strategies 24/7.
And it's free.
Beat that, you cheap. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. The NBA regular season came to an end on Sunday. Now it's on to the play-in round. Things get underway this Tuesday. In the East, 7th place versus 8th place. It's the Magic taking on the Hawks. Atlanta, the 8th place team. In the West, 7th place Golden State takes on 8th place Memphis. 9 versus 10 in the East on Wednesday. The Bulls against the Heat. In the West, the 9th place Kings take on the Mavericks. Play in second round on Friday. The losing team in each 7 versus 8 game takes on the winner of the 9 versus 10 game. Then whoever wins that earns the 8th seed in each conference. Oklahoma City has the top seed in the West. The Cavaliers, the top seed in the East. Oak City finished the season 68-14. The Cavaliers finished 64-18. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
If sports talk stations were buffets, we'd be the one with the line out the door where every night is rib night and you came alone because the crowd gives you a measure of cover so you won't get any grief for going back 9 times. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Talking about pressure situations, Kev, you didn't get your chance. Do you have a pressure situation in your life that you said, you know what, boy, I froze up and I just couldn't make the play? Because I'm going to give you another one here. As I told you, like golf, okay. I made a lot of big catches in my life. I also dropped a couple big catches in my life.
Yeah.
I had one versus the College of New Jersey, which used to be Trenton State. I ran a post pattern, and the defense, I think, was in a cover 2, Kevin. They blew the coverage. Wide open. And this ball was thrown actually too perfectly, if that makes sense. And I say this as a wide receiver. The toughest catch in football for a wide receiver to make is not going over the middle where a guy's going to smash your teeth in. It's not having a comeback route where the ball's thrown 100 miles an hour over your head to the side. You got to make a diving catch. It's running full speed down the middle of the field and looking up at that football as you're running with football equipment on and bouncing and all that stuff. It was thrown so well, Kevin, I had a choice. I was like, I don't think I want to reach my hands out, catch this, and try to keep running because we were on like maybe our own 30, and I was should have caught the ball like the other 35, like 10 yards behind everybody else. But I was at the point where it's like, I think I should just make this catch. Let me leave my feet and try to make it here. And I dropped the football. I should have made the catch. If I made a really good catch, I would have just caught it and kept running here. And I never forget that as long as I live. Like in a pressure situation of a tie game, it's very rare that I couldn't come up with that catch. And it still makes me mad. But then again, plays like in golf, like I can't actually believe I just made that in that situation and that much pressure. Do you ever have a situation where it's like, you know what? I should have did that, whatever it was.
So, look, I played offensive line when it came to football, which that's just a regret in general that I didn't get to transition to tight end, but that's neither here nor there. There was one, so the level always made it easier in that, like high school Donnie, I wasn't as comfortable playing basketball, but then like the CYO, I was more comfortable. And then if we're at the park, I was essentially LeBron, right? I'm like, just move, give me the ball, I got this, right? No, 100%. Everything ran through me. Like usage rate was way high, whole situation. But there was one CYO game, and I still, even though I was very comfortable, I would rarely do this, where we were playing a team that didn't have enough size. And you know me, Don, like I like to play on the perimeter, and I went, yo, enough of this. Give me the ball. Enough. Can't do it anymore. Like we were in overtime, and like the coach was like, huh? And I'm like, that's it. I can't, like, just throw me the ball. I'm going to lay it in. And in that game, it was one of those, like, miss free throw and you can heave it. And it went backboard rim out. And I almost made the three-quarter court. And I still think about that shot, which didn't matter in the grand scheme one bit. And I'll add this only now, free throws, I couldn't handle.
I got a good free throw one.
I could not handle free throws because, to me, I'm not a great shooter, and it's just a bit awkward. It's just all eyes on you, right? There was one time, like, the opposing crowd got me where, they chant your routine. Dribble, dribble, spin.
Yep.
I mean, I must have been up there for 40 minutes. These guys ran out of energy during the free throw routine.
Over.
Yes. Step back, pump fake.
Yeah, give it back to the ref. Are we good? Did you check it to me? We good? Yeah.
Well, we had an overtime game, and I was so tired, I mentally was nowhere. And I swished both free throws. Just to your point about the golf thing, I guess, where you were just like the head was so all over the place. It was just right there playing golf. Like, I think I was just focused on my breathing because otherwise I was going to pass out on that court. Like, Coach actually let me play the whole game, which was nice in high school, and it was OT, and I made both. I have never had two free throws as pure as that before or after.
Yeah, we had one in high school where I was playing JV, and we were playing a team. We fouled with like 1 second left. They made two free throws, took a 1-point lead, and I just ran up and took the ball inside the free throw line and heaved it down court, splash, triple. And everybody was waiting for the varsity game, which is kind of cool. It's like, oh, wow, amazing. But in high school, I did have one as a junior. I wasn't a starter. We had a good basketball team. It's like it's probably 7th or 8th man at that point. But we went into double overtime against the best team in the conference. So, starters were fouling out. I'm telling you right now, the game lasted so long that the girls' team was back from their away game already. The gym packed to the rafters. I go to the free throw line, Kevin. It's dead silent in that gym. And look, I'm a good shooter as is. I don't know how I made both of those free throws to the point where, like, the paper the next day actually included me with my 2 points and, like, the headline of, like, Seymour and Lewis. Joey Lewis was our best basketball player. Lewis had, like, 31 points in that game. I like 2, but I got the headline.
Come on now.
I'm telling you, the first one wasn't that clean, went in. The second was a little bit clean, but I remember after making it, I was like, I don't know how I made it. Like, silence in the gym. Everything's on you. Everybody watching. It's like, that's craziness. But I know everybody out there has probably had instances or stories, but I always like to kick the ones that you, like, really failed on. And I'm telling you, that one in college, which was a Saturday game, we had Hurricane Floyd, I want to say, in it was my 1999, my senior year. Were you even born at that time, 99? You were born,
99, right? I was born. 99, I was born.
There you go. So the parents out there listening, Hurricane Floyd wiped out our Friday night game at home, so we played on a Saturday. Big parties on campus on Saturday night, Kevin. I stayed home. Like, not that anybody would even care, but I cared so much that I didn't make that catch. I was like, I just got to stay home at that point. So we've all been there before at that point.
Man, it didn't even involve me.
Yeah.
But our sophomore season JV championship football game. And we lost in the most heartbreaking fashion like you would never believe. First of all, I don't know, it was, I guess, 3rd and 2, maybe 3rd and 4. Ran it. They called the holding penalty. Certainly not on me. I don't know if I was ever penalized in high school. Now, it doesn't mean I was great, but I was never going to get in trouble. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you might beat me, but I'm not holding. I'm not false starting. Like, we're staying where we need to be. I'll be slow off the ball, whatever it is. They called the holding penalty. And now it's like, 4th and 13 or some nonsense like that. We are not that good of a team. Like, we're not this isn't Texas. So, like, our punter can't punt. But they still send him out there. That ball doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, or the ball snapped over his head.
Right. So they still need to, like, throw a deep Hail Mary. We're out there in base defense, is what I was told. I'm not on defense. The DB gets his hand on the ball instead of batting it down, batted it up, and it went behind his head, and they basically, like, walked off Hail Mary'd us. I was inconsolable. Like, they were holding me up. I don't know what. It was one of the worst moments of my entire life. I could not believe we didn't win that game. And our coach told us he saw the ref who called the holding penalty the next day at, like, the varsity game, and he apologized, saying he shouldn't have made that call. And I don't know why he would tell you that. That only makes this worse. It's just 10 times worse.
Hey, can we overturn that? Yeah, no, we can't. So good luck to the rest of the boys out there. Yeah, everybody's out there has had bad beats, bad situations, great situations that they have, or certainly situations that they did want back. But now as we're going through everything here, Major League Baseball is this afternoon. I'll be able to handicap a little bit later. Some decent spots on the card, freezing temperatures for like the last week and a half. Hopefully that does improve. But the NBA playing rounds are going to start tomorrow. You get that sort of decompression day. You had one Saturday, which was interesting. Everybody played Sunday. Now you're off Monday, and then we go away with it here. If we're looking, because I tried to equate it this morning saying, who are the Cinderellas that could possibly become a challenger in the NBA? Because it's Oklahoma City plus 180. It's the Boston Celtics plus 190. It's the Cavaliers plus 490 and everybody else. And I don't even want to include like Cinderellas as the Lakers, the Warriors, the Knicks, or the Nuggets. We take them out of here. So we start with like the Timberwolves, the Clippers, who are getting lighter and lighter every time I look right now. Pacers, Rockets, which is ridiculous at 75-1. The Bucks. Is there a Cinderella that could crash this party? Because as we say, they're all professionals.
Yeah.
Injuries are going to happen. Could there be a chance like a 75-1 team winds up in the finals?
The only one you could sell me on is Milwaukee, because you could.
Is Lillard coming back at all or no? He's done.
I don't. The initial diagnosis,
like 3 months.
Well, but the initial diagnosis, Donnie, was something that's like, oh, that would probably cost a player a year of their sport. And then someone's like, Lillard could come back. It's like, I don't know what's going on. Again, the entire Bucks selling point would be, I believe, not me, but I believe Giannis is the best player in the world. I'll take 100-1 or whatever it may be on the best player in the world. That's the selling point.
Yeah, there you go. NBA talk, more of it next. Having fun on a Monday edition of Moneyline right here on the SportsGrid Network.
Winning is not just beating the odds. It's the thing that keeps the wife smiling and your kids in respectful awe.
Oh, Father. Now cut that out.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. For the first time in NHL history, the league's U.S.-based original teams are all out of the playoffs in the same year. That's the Bruins, Rangers, Blackhawks, and Red Wings. A year after losing the tiebreaker for the last spot in the Eastern Conference, the Red Wings took a step back this season. They were eliminated from postseason contention on Saturday. The Blackhawks are the last-place team in the Central Division for the third straight season and finished ahead of only San Jose in the NHL. A season after winning the President's Trophy with the most wins in the league, the Rangers were eliminated during the final week of the regular season. Boston misses the playoffs for the first time since 2016. They'll finish with the fewest points in the Eastern Conference. The regular season wraps up this coming Thursday night with the playoffs starting on Saturday. The Canadians can clinch the last Eastern Conference wild card with a win over the Blackhawks tonight. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Springfest deals are still in full swing at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. And get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $300 when you buy 2 or more select GE kitchen appliances of $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
You've heard of smart bombs,
Smartphones, smart cars, smart watches, and smart glasses.
Now you can add smart player.
Giving you sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Yeah, back at it. Fun Monday. Big week this week. NHL finally starts to close down to get to their playoffs. The NBA playoffs are underway. Major League Baseball now certainly getting fired up with a couple weeks into the season. Another slate of games does start tonight. But just looking at the NBA, where the season is here now. The fun is here. We can see everything in front of us. And let me just understand this, too. looking at some of the numbers, and we just talked about maybe some of those teams that could crash the party, per se, with the odds perspective to win it all. But as I look, Kevin, no surprise here. Like, the numbers are out for the first 4 games here in the play-in rounds. Tomorrow night starts as a doubleheader, Hawks, Magic, Grizzlies, and the Warriors. 218.5, Kevin, the opening number for that Hawks game, now down to 216.5. Memphis and Golden State, 231.5, now down to 229. Heat Bulls, 222, now down to 219. You take a look at the Mavericks and the Kings, 222, down to 216.5. It looks like, as opposed to the bets on the spread, which really haven't meant most, looks like some sharps and or public just pounded the unders the minute it came out blindly.
Yeah. Which we've seen when it comes to postseason hoops. Did that Warriors Grizzlies number move at all, Donnie, by the way? Or is that still sitting 7.5?
7.5 down to 7 at FanDuel, but 6.5 at MGM. So it is moving a little bit.
Yeah, I just, you end that game, Jimmy Butler's hobbling around, Steph Curry's got the wrap on the hand. It's very interesting, though, if anyone else has noticed, the Western Conference pricing on Golden State says, hey, look, I know the play-in's unfortunate, but don't worry, they'll beat Memphis, and then we are going to book them as comfortable favorites against the Houston Rockets in round 1. Because for this team to be plus 850, Donnie, in front of Denver, Minnesota, and the Clippers, who are all secured, locked into the postseason, to me, is a real price-dependent piece of booking that we are seeing, which, by the way, I don't think the book should be as confident as they are that Golden State is going to beat Memphis and then beat Houston. I think was what we're seeing in the pricing.
Like, I think I have two, because the Sixers did a great job for me down the stretch, Kevin. I love the tank. It's what we do in Philadelphia. We might actually get a really good draft pick here and saved it away from OKC, which would be crazy if OKC then just conveyed that pick and just continued on their way to winning a championship and getting top 10 picks all the way through. But I look at the Rockets and I say, like, I just feel like I have to cheer for them. Be a number 2 overall seed and basically, like, we don't even know why you're in the playoffs based upon, like, the sports books. Like, you guys are wasting our time. No idea how you got to the 2. Did you flip a coin? Did you win a lottery just to get the 2? Like, no, they actually played good basketball in the regular season. I feel like that's the team I want to cheer for because the price is so crazy, and which means they're going to have home court advantage right up until they play OKC probably in the final. Do I think they can win the NBA championship? No, but I like the disrespected team and say that price is ridiculous. Can they win a round or 2? And then I cash out with absolute profit.
Yeah, I think the pricing to win in the West is far more interesting for a lot of those teams than win the title. Like, even the Lakers, for it, just using that as an example, if you can still say grab a 7-1 ticket, because Oklahoma City is a very, very real favorite. And if that is who you play in the Western Conference Finals, you may want to hedge. And if, you don't want to have to hedge twice, I don't think, right? I don't think the uptick to a title ticket is enough to have to hedge against, say, OKC and Cleveland or OKC and Boston, right? So, you take Houston, for example. I mean, like you said, here's the other thing, and why I understand the selling point on Houston. Win a round, and it's going to improve their pricing so much, no matter who the opponent is next round, Donnie, because it'll have earned them a lot of respect. And they're going to have home court advantage no matter what in round 2. We know that for sure.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, because the only knock on OKC is they haven't done it before. I truly believe they are the best team in the NBA. But when you're looking at those price points, you're saying, like, okay, am I going to pay that number? Because in the East, it's like there's 2 teams, and there's 2 teams only. Unless the Knicks sort of find a way to say, hey, you know what? We could beat decent teams every once in a while. You can't really take them seriously. So we think the Eastern Conference Finals will be the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. Like, OKC still has to go through some really good, deep, veteran basketball teams just to make it to the Western Conference Finals and then win a championship. I'm rooting for them because I think it's a great story, and they have a lot of likable players on that team. But make no mistake about it, like, the playoffs as a different beast, where teams like the Lakers, and I talk about, LeBron James specifically getting up there in years. He didn't play in Utah last night and then has to play Denver the next night. They couldn't beat the Nuggets tonight. Well, okay, he's exhausted because, number one, he's older. Number one, there's travel, and he's playing at elevation. So I was sort of using that analogy, like, okay, let's just say the Lakers play the Nuggets, down the line. Like, they're going to fly in a night or 2 before that series starts. get acclimated, play that game. And then if, again, home court, let's just say, is the Nuggets or whatever, they would play 3 games later. Now, granted, I'm using this for any city per se. I'm just using Denver as a team. But the acclimation of the veteran team, and this is why I look at the Clippers as well. The Clippers, we always joke about, like, don't ever take a Clippers future. When the playoffs come, their players will be nowhere to be found. Not because they're not playing good, protocols, ACLs, suspensions, whatever it might be. They don't have that. And that was a nice win for them against Golden State, where now, again, you don't have a deep bench for the Clippers, but if you're playing once every 4 nights, Kevin, that really pops up as an attention getter to me. Like, I'm going to get full go veterans every single night in the playoffs, and that could play into it.
The issue for the Clippers is we've seen this before. It's not a joke. I mean, does anyone think that Kawhi will actually last until
he got
the conference finals?
No, but is this one of those game 3s? The Clippers are up 2-1 of like, hey, by the way, Kawhi just tore his ACL. Like, wait, he played the rest of the game.
Do you remember the Phoenix series 2 or 3 seasons ago where he was easily the best player on the court against KD, Devin Booker, and then game 3 they're like, he's questionable. We're like, what? Like, he's out. Like, he's out.
The fact that the Clippers
he can't
didn't lose their franchise over that because it was like, he's questionable tonight, and somebody goes, he's not even in the same state as this game tonight. What do you mean he's questionable? Or not a single person could get a look at their practice to be like, Kawhi is not even here. But you're right. He was questionable with a torn ACL for at least a week and a half. At least a week and a half.
So my thing is, if you're Denver, devastating to have to play him in round 1. If you're the Thunder, you're like, yeah, no way they're fully healthy coming into round 2. No way.
Crazy Clippers title run. It could happen. Moneyline, one more segment to go on a big Monday show right here on the SportsGrid Network.
Get the SportsGrid mobile app and you'll never be alone. Take the latest episodes of your favorite shows with you anywhere. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
The early line.
No, Coach, I need to know about the Houston Rockets here. I don't think I've ever seen a more disrespected number 2 overall seed in a really good conference in my entire lifetime. 52-28, deserving of the number 2 seed. Doesn't matter who they play in round number 1, Coach. They are getting sent home and sent home quickly. The disrespect, Udoka is the head coach. Is it real or is it fool's gold for them?
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
You've searched, and now you found it.
A mostly peaceful oasis in the sports talk desert, where one multi-platform giant shines like a lighthouse on the calm ocean.
Nice metaphor.
That network
is SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
You said you got a baseball question with a baseball card today, Kevin. What do you got? Lay it on me.
So it's a little more big picture. But the LA Dodgers started their season, if I'm not mistaken, 8-0. And we've now played 17 LA Dodger games. and their run differential is 0.
Stinks. Yes.
Now, I know people, they lost 16-0. It's all okay. Okay. The Padres being very good is not surprising. There's a lot of talent on that baseball team. The Giants being pretty good, I'm not surprised by. I refuse to invest in them big picture in the futures market because of my fear for the Dodgers, thinking there's no way the Giants could finish in front of the Dodgers. It's 17 games, but you have two really good teams in front of you. Run differential 0. It's inarguably now this incredible start for them, Donnie. They're now disappointing through their what will be their first 20 games, right?
Yes. Now, also with this sort of brings that broader picture in because everybody gets mad at their own teams right now. As I bring up the standings for Major League Baseball, and again, very early, everybody's bunched up, and I joke about everybody but the Colorado Rockies probably thinks they might be able to do some damage. But you look in the AL East, 9-7 Toronto, picked dead last in the division. Yankees are 8-7. Boston's 8-9. Tampa 7-8. And the Baltimore Orioles are 6-9. The reason I bring this up is like my frustration with the Philadelphia Phillies being 9-6. I just feel they should be better than that. But then I do take solace and I look around the rest of the league and go, yes, like outside the Padres and the Giants that are overperforming, like we are disappointed in the 11-6 Dodgers. Like they shouldn't be 16-1. And the only way they lost was on a walk-off error where they lost 4-3. Like they got beat 16-0 Saturday night by the Chicago Cubs. Like they got dusted off a couple of these. So when I look at the Phillies and see the problems they have, it seems like everybody in baseball is having the exact same problems at different times. Like, hey, man, that Yankees lineup, Ben Rice up top looks great. Aaron Judge having a great season. Jason Dominguez, the young guys. So wait, how are they only 8-7 at this point? Like my favorite dog of the day yesterday was San Francisco. I'm like, what a stupid pick. Down 3-0. They're hitting Webb. Yeah, it's the Yankees. Why did I do that? And they came back and beat them because everybody has flaws, even when you expect to have a dominant bullpen or a good starter on the mound and whatnot. So I'm sort of taking everything with a grain of salt right now because I want to crush my Phillies. But then I look around the league and go, no, they're just doing what everybody else is doing at this point, talented or not. Like once the weather starts to change and everybody's, calmed down and, all right, I got 60 at-bats in against lefties. I can see them again. That's when I don't get worried. But also, interesting point. Like if you look at the Dodgers to win the NL West a week ago, it's like minus 1,000. It is cut in half. It's minus 500. So I actually thought you might be going with like a scenario like this. If you just forget about the Colorado Rockies and you just put $50 on the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants, one of those three teams, because you can't do this early in the season. And you say, oh my goodness, like look at the price points. You usually pick like one team and hope they can beat them. You can basically take the field against the Dodgers where it just doesn't work out and be really profitable. Like you said, $50 pays back on 7-1, $350. $50 on Arizona at 14-1, $700. $50 on the Giants at 22-1. That's $1,100. So again, you're laying out $150 with a worst case scenario of a $200 profit in your back pocket. It's kind of wild. Like I'm almost thinking about like that might be a fun way to cheer on the season. But as we know, the Dodgers, it's like if things don't go that well, and again, they're 11-6. They're not playing great baseball. So everything is relative. But I always expect them to get the pitcher, get the extra hitter, get the bullpen relief, and really shore it up. But if you just wanted to bet that way, figuring that those teams would hang around, they're fun prices, man. I don't even look at them at last week. Like, outrageous numbers.
How about this, Donnie? They are now you know that you got a bad number here. So they're minus 500 to win their division, right?
Yes.
On FanDuel, they're minus 800 to have the best record. Can't win your division without the best record. So that 800 number is atrocious because that brings in every other team in the sport.
Yeah,
like that that can't be the number.
Yeah,
it just can't be.
It's the way people are pressing the button down. Nobody's hitting that market. They're hitting more in the NL West, and that's the way they're going with it at that point. So it is interesting in that aspect that you have. But I've been having a blast, like being full handicapping mode in Major League Baseball, watching just about every game. Like I have the, with T-Mobile, they give you the free MLB package, like on your phone. So I walk my dogs a lot, and I just pop that thing on, go game to game to game, and I check my phone to see scores. Like, oh, I got a team total or a guy up in this situation. But baseball, you can get bad beats in football. There's no in basketball. Hey, I didn't get a rebound short. Baseball is some of the most painful beats you have. It's the equivalent of I need 2 points out of LeBron. Oh, he just missed the dunk.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't happen like a breakaway dunk. But in baseball, 3-0 count. I just need a walk. Oh, let me swing wildly and pop one up to the shortstop. Ridiculous. Moneyline, thanks for tuning in. JP behind the wheels of steel. Kevin Walsh down the right side. Solo for DRS the rest of the week. What will I do? Back tomorrow.
Ask any woman and she'll tell you all men are afraid of commitment.
Clearly, she's never met a SportsGrid listener.
Last place team in the Central Division for the third straight season and finished ahead of only San Jose in the NHL. A season after winning the President's Trophy with the most wins in the league, the Rangers were eliminated during the final week of the regular season. Boston misses the playoffs for the first time since 2016. They'll finish with the fewest points in the Eastern Conference. The regular season wraps up this coming Thursday night with the playoffs starting on Saturday. The Canadians can clinch the last Eastern Conference wild card with a win over the Blackhawks tonight. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Springfest deals are still in full swing at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. And get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $300 when you buy 2 or more select GE kitchen appliances of $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
How many SportsGrid listeners does it take to change a light bulb?
It takes 2.
One to change the light bulb.
And 1 to see if our mobile app can provide the same amount of light.
Get the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle. It is FFC. A new week begins on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. He is the mastermind of the pigskin. That is Joe Lisi. I am Ben Stevens. Lisi guy, a weekend in football with a lot of drama in Knoxville, Tennessee. A story that we discussed on Friday reached its ultimate conclusion on Saturday, with still some voids to be filled, both for the Volunteers and for Nico Iamaleava. We will do all of that here on this Monday on Football Full Circle. NFL news and notes as well, just about a week and a half away from the 2025 NFL Draft. Plenty to detail here on this Monday on Football Full Circle.
Yeah, and very intriguing circumstances as it relates to the college game. We're front and center stage again, but not for the right reasons, Ben. We had spring practice and spring games over the weekend, and it's a drama that unfolded in terms of Knoxville. Other reports now circulating about the developing story about Nico, his family, and how it played out, potentially even in the college football semifinal playoff loss to the defending champion of the Ohio State Buckeyes. So we'll see what transpires, but it's not good for college football moving forward. And we have to see now how some of these programs, tackle on, this situation of NIL and booster money, because top-ranked players now are potentially holding out in some of the biggest games of the college football season, Ben.
So we'll get to the reports and what is being stated. We'll start with what we know. By the way, sorry, that was my metallic water bottle hitting the floor. My apologies. Here in studio. As Joe and I detailed on Friday, a stunning development to reports that starting quarterback for Tennessee, Nico Iamaleava, was renegotiating, looking for a new and improved NIL deal with Tennessee, following, of course, a 2024 season that resulted in a college football playoff bid. That on Friday, Joe, basically when we hit the air here on SportsGrid Radio, reports out of Knoxville that Iamaleava had missed Friday's spring practice ahead of Saturday's spring game for Tennessee, and that shocked the Tennessee coaching staff putting his status as the Vols starting quarterback very much up in the air. And then early on Saturday, Joe, ahead of that spring game for the Vols, we got the news that Josh Heupel had basically said enough is enough. Tennessee deciding to move on and part ways with its starting quarterback. A stunning development and a change, Joe, for an ever-evolving landscape that is college sports and specifically college football at this moment. So Tennessee moves on from Nico Iamaleava. Let's start with that decision right there by Josh Heupel, his football staff, and everything in Knoxville. Do you think it was the correct decision for Tennessee's perspective?
Absolutely. Again, if you're Josh Heupel, and I understand, college coaches bounce, but you really have to rein in your program to really stop this, because at the end of the day, you're trying to win an SEC championship. You're trying to get to the college football playoff, and the ultimate goal is to win a national championship. And if you're starting quarterback and one of your key players is checked out or doesn't have his eye on the prize in terms of a national championship, how could you move forward being in limbo and having one player potentially handcuff the whole organization or school? It doesn't play out for both sides. If Nico and his family didn't want to be in Knoxville, that's all well and good, but don't hold the school hostage throughout the regular season and potentially, maybe, in terms of the biggest game, maybe in October or November, or in this case, January. So again, it's the right decision. Hopefully more players and schools learn from this situation, and maybe we can rein this in and limit this, because it's not good for college football. It's not good for the product, Ben. And it's only, I'm sorry to say, I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, it is a really interesting thing, Joe, because a lot of people on Saturday then decided, okay, what is next? What does this mean for Tennessee? What does it mean for Nico? But maybe more importantly, what does it mean for this changing landscape in college football as a whole? Joe, as we shared on Friday, basically every offseason now, whether it's conference realignment, transfer portal, name, image, likeness, and soon this summer, revenue sharing directly between school and player, we have some new development that we had not seen previously in college football, where we are basically unpacking 100+ years of college sports history with developments that have changed so rapidly in the last 4 to 5 years. Everything is stunning, everything is shocking, and everything feels very, very new. And of course, people are rather hesitant to change, especially when it happens in such a swift manner. Now, specifically for what we are seeing here in Knoxville, I commend Josh Heupel. I commend Tennessee for taking a stand. Because, Joe, in this player movement and player agency era, I do believe that when it comes to contract negotiations, really the leverage, the power is on behalf of the player and their representations, as we shared at length on Friday. This is not professional sports. This is not free agency at that level. We don't even have standardized agreements. We don't have contracts. There's no financial penalty for Nico Iamaleava to enter the transfer portal. He doesn't have to pay back Tennessee's booster collective a certain amount of money for breaking his contract, because there really isn't one. And that is one of the issues. No guardrails in place to protect player or, in this case, booster collective. It's not even vengeful coaches that can be selfish and leave at the drop of a hat, because then a payout back to the university, back to the athletic department needs to be had. We don't have that in terms of NIL deals, and they're not even really name, image, and likeness. Let's call a spade a spade. It's pay for play. So will this be an inflection point? We shall see. But I do really respect Tennessee, and we heard from Josh Heupel after Tennessee's spring game inside Neyland Stadium on Saturday afternoon. He told his team, rallying around this moment, nobody here, including myself, Josh Heupel referring to himself, nobody here, including the head coach, is more important than the program, is more important than that block team. And I think, Lisi Guy, just working with you often when it comes to conversations like this, you are a man that loves the purity of this sport, that loves the product that is college football, but in the last few years has not exactly liked the off-the-field stuff as it pertains to collegiate sports. And I think part of it, Joe, at the end of the day is sacrificing the actual product and the game for all of the other things that come with it. So I think for Josh Heupel and his program to take that stand that nobody, not even our starting quarterback for a college football playoff team, is bigger than said program, is bigger than the block T, is bigger than the history of Volunteers football, I do really commend.
I do as well. And again, they put their foot down and you know, it hurts. You know, this is not coming with a cost, right? Meaning there is a cost associated with this. Now you have to work with a second and potentially third stringer, a new offensive, talent that you have to then have 5 or 6 months to get ready for your week 1 matchup in terms of this type of landscape, or for Josh Heupel to potentially move forward and get his team unified and build out all those. What does that message send to the recruits, too? You're recruiting these high school kids, right? Come to Knoxville in 2025 and 2026. And if they see the starting quarterback hold this school and university hostage, just the way Aaron Rodgers is doing on the NFL side to the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? I had to sprinkle that in. I mean, what does that really show? That shows that the player is bigger than the school and the program, and that you just can't have that. It's one thing. NIL is great, and we all believe that the players should be paid for name, image, and likeness. That is not what this is. This is pay for play, and it's the Wild West. And until a program steps down, like Tennessee, it's only going to get worse. But it's just a start, Ben.
So we'll talk about that up next. Is this a wake-up call for college football? Is it an inflection point? Is it the start of things that we will see far more frequently? We'll have that conversation up next on Football Full Circle.
Four out of 5 scientists agree it's smarter to be on SportsGrid, and we're pretty sure that one scientist is still a virgin.
He just gives that 5.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. A man is facing charges after authorities say he broke into the Pennsylvania governor's mansion in the middle of the night, set a fire that left significant damage, and forced Governor Josh Shapiro, his family, and guests to evacuate the building during the Jewish holiday of Passover. Firefighters put out the fire early Sunday morning and no injuries were reported. The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Cody Ballmer, was arrested nearby later in the day. President Trump's doctor says he is fully fit to serve as commander-in-chief as the White House released results Sunday of Trump's recent physical exam. The 78-year-old Trump is 20 pounds lighter since his checkup as president in 2020. Trump turned 79 on June 14th. Family, friends, and the public will remember George Foreman during a memorial service in his hometown of Houston. George Foreman IV, one of the 5 sons of the boxing legend, along with Houston Mayor John Whitmire and others, are expected to speak at the service today. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is nice because you can just keep doing you. So keep on using that broken phone charger because it occasionally works. Keep quoting something you heard on a podcast as your own. Keep ignoring your sister's texts while you drive and after. And when baggage claim says, have a great trip, keep on saying, you too. And keep driving safely. And you could save with Snapshot from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents. Surcharge possible for unsafe driving.
There's something you should know and always remember.
SportsGrid does not increase luck.
We're your unfair advantage for the latest sports gaming information. If you're looking for luck,
go find a horseshoe.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle, it is FFC. Huge story on Saturday in college football out of Knoxville. Nico Iamaleava, the starting quarterback for the Volunteers a season ago, leading Tennessee to a college football playoff appearance, is no longer the starting quarterback in Knoxville. The Volunteers, led by head coach Josh Heupel, deciding to move on from Iamaleava, who was renegotiating, or at least attempting to renegotiate, an NIL deal with Tennessee's NIL collective. Lisi Guy, as we just discussed, we kind of laid out the facts of the case, if you will, in that opening segment. Now I think we take that conversation a step further. Is this a true indication of what we are going to see more frequently in college football? Will other quarterbacks, will other big-name players attempt to do something of the sort? Is Tennessee taking a stand and basically saying nobody is bigger than the program and we will not be held hostage by a player and his representation? Will that benefit college football programs and maybe slow things down in the wild, wild west that NIL has become in college sports? What do you think of it as, Lisi Guy? An inflection point that brings us closer to normality? Is it a wake-up call for college sports? Is it the start of what we are going to see much more often in college football?
I think it is a wake-up call that, the proponents and the backers of, the expanded playoff and everything is good for football and college football and it's not going to affect the game, and the pay for play is just, they've been paid for years, so now it's just out in the open. I think it is a wake-up call to see about the possible scenarios because, before this situation, it was only the bowl games and meaningless bowl games. Yeah. And now we see a situation, potentially, if the reports are true, where Nico, and it's not just Nico, right? Teammates were potentially holding out in the game against Ohio State. And that was a semifinal playoff game where they got absolutely boat raced by the national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. So this is a bigger situation. Is it just one guy? Probably not. And I'll take it a step further. Yes, it is an inflection point. It is a wake-up call. But let's not forget, this isn't Arch Manning either. And what I'm saying is Nico's an average quarterback. He's the starter at Tennessee, but we're not talking about a potential, number one draft pick or top 5 talent. There's no telling what potentially that type of player, and I'm not suggesting Arch, I'm just using him as an example in terms of a top talent returning for 2025. What if it's a star player on, Notre Dame or Georgia or Ohio State? What happens in that situation as opposed to what transpired in Knoxville?
I hear you based on body of work, and we talked about the actual stat profile for Nico Iamaleava in his first full year as the starting quarterback for Tennessee. Now, the idea, though, Joe, the prospect of Iamaleava and what he could do in a second full year under Josh Heupel in that Tennessee offense had very high expectations. We talked about the Vols' win total of 9.5 being the 4th best number in the SEC, certainly in contention once again to not maybe just win a conference crown, but be a college football playoff team. We'll talk about the odds on the other side of the break, right? The more minute football details of this. I think your point, though, is this an inflection? Is it a wake-up call? I would say yes, but there's nothing that will be put into action, right? No justification, no legislation to support Tennessee. In fact, the Volunteers have fought against the NCAA. The state of Tennessee has fought against the NCAA to back Nico Iamaleava a time or two. There's nothing that will be passed down, no guideline, no new law, no new code of ethics or whatever that allows other schools to do what the Volunteers did to back up what Josh Heupel has decided to do. It'll be, as it has been, a program-to-program basis for a coach that, let's face it, Joe, needs to make a difficult decision. Iamaleava was mediocre in his first year as the Volunteers quarterback. But now Josh Heupel ends spring ball without a tried-and-true starting quarterback for a team that has high expectation, double-digit wins, trying to be an SEC contender, trying to be a college football playoff team. That doesn't necessarily, from a football perspective, losing your starting quarterback, a returning starting quarterback in a prime position from the football sense to be successful in 2025. Joe is also referencing a clip from Josh Pate. His show, the Pate Football Show, of course, as we know, one of the premier voices in college football that has really started to circulate from last night. That Josh Pate, with his sources, with his inside knowledge, was basically saying that the powers that be in college football, the talking media members, whatever it might be, who said, listen, if you expand the college football playoff, it will incentivize participation. It will keep programs involved through the entirety of the year. It is one of the meaningful things that can happen with college football playoff expansion. For those people who said, listen, you only get opt-outs in bowl games, you won't see that in the college football playoff. Josh Pate was saying that based on his knowledge, that Nico, among many others, not just the Ameleava at Tennessee, but among our 12 college football playoff teams, them or the representation were going back and saying, listen, I signed on for a 12-game season. I have now led you to a conference championship or a college football playoff spot. You need to pay me more. I need incentives to be bolstered into whatever this monetary agreement is. Which, of course, Joe, is a really nasty sign for the importance of the actual product of college football versus just the financial aspect. And if that is happening, that is not for the betterment of college football.
No, it's not. And again, then it's the players holding the program hostage without the team mentality being the first and foremost aspect of the game and them trying to win a national championship. And we're not talking about UAB or Coastal Carolina. We're talking about the University of Tennessee, which is, looks at itself like a blue blood, even though potentially it's not, but has aspirations to make a college football playoff each and every year. You can't have that. It's unfortunate, but this is where we're at right now.
We'll tie a bow on this up next, and we'll put it in the football sense before we transition to NFL news and notes. Some big news around Derek Carr. What might it mean for the 2025 NFL Draft and a signing in Chicago? All of that next on Football Full Circle.
There's smart.
And there's not smart.
Not smart is hope as a strategy. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Keep it here.
And win.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1925, the first regular season Cubs game is broadcast on WGN Radio. In the 1980s, Cubs broadcaster Harry Carey became a national figure, broadcasting games on WGN TV.
Holy cow! What a towering home run!
For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Polymer scientists at the American Chemical Society have invented a molecular hydrophilic coating for golf balls so that when you putt, slows the speed of the ball on lightning-fast bone-dry greens and speeds it up on wet, slow greens, making your game more predictable. Totally legal, complies with all USDA rules. Won't cure your slice because there's no aerodynamic effect. And no matter how technologically advanced your hydrophilic golf ball is, it will not solve this problem. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The early line.
No, Coach, I need to know about the Houston Rockets here. I don't think I've ever seen a more disrespected number 2 overall seed in a really good conference in my entire lifetime. 52-28, deserving of the number 2 seed. Doesn't matter who they play in round number 1, Coach. They are getting sent home and sent home quickly. The disrespect, Udoka is the head coach. Is it real or is it fool's gold for them?
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Wherever you go,
there you are.
Download the SportsGrid mobile app and we'll be right there with you.
So now you can get the winning edge
anywhere,
even while the wife's talking to you.
if you got an earbud.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle, it is FFC. So we're talking about the Nico Iamaleava situation. Tennessee takes a stand and moves on from its starting quarterback at the end of spring practice. Now the spring transfer portal window opens up on Wednesday. We'll talk about what that means from a football perspective in just a moment. Joe, I've asked you the question. I think it's the natural follow-up for many that love this sport, this unique product that is college football. Is this a sign of the times? Is this going to happen? Is it going to continue to happen? Or will Tennessee, taking its stand, provide that wake-up call? I remain hesitant because we have seen inflection points in wake-up calls before, and yet it continues to be a circus and a chaos in college sports in the NIL and transfer portal era. What I will say, though, Joe, is I almost think that we are continuing to see stunning developments that we never really thought would be the case in this era. All right, name, image, and likeness opens up. Players can start to be profitable based on their name, image, and likeness. It quickly became more of a system that is pay for play. That's not great. There's no guardrails or restrictions to keep us really from the wild, wild west it has become. All right, but if players sign an NIL deal, they'll be loyal. Not so much, but it's only going to happen in the offseason. We only will see this stuff in the winter and in the early spring. Oh, wait, there's a spring transfer portal window so that after spring ball you can get poached? That's not great. But again, it's still just April and May, not even before summer workouts. By the time we get into fall camp, nothing's going to happen. Certainly not by the time we get to the season. UNLV's Matthew Sluka, after a dream start for the Rebs, hits the transfer portal in the middle of a season. Well, it would never occur for a college football playoff contender, maybe bowl game opt-outs. We're getting reports that this did, in fact, occur between Iamaleava and a bunch of other schools and their stars, leading to what we are seeing here. Joe, I think it is the sad reality that as change happens all around the sport of college football, we are going to see new developments, and yet it's difficult to accept change. It's 100+ years of an old system that has been broken down to the very bare bones. And now in the last 4 to 5 years, such swift shifts, if you will, that the fans are kind of left to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, again, what does this mean? Does it affect viewership? Does it affect, the game itself? Are some people turned off? I'm sure there are. Outside the diehards, I'm sure there's the casual fan saying, this is ridiculous now. And I don't even want to watch it. We'll see. We'll see where the numbers are. The national championship game didn't come close to anywhere near the numbers that it did just a few years ago when it was Alabama and Georgia, right? So we'll see, Ben. You look at Sluka, too, that situation. He goes from UNLV, I believe he signed on at JMU, right? Didn't he? You talk about a step down for Sluka. Yeah, I think so. He went, but some of these guys, it is a change in the times as it relates to these players. I keep saying it. It's the tip of the iceberg because now we're just hearing about it, right? We don't know certain situations. This isn't the NFL where everything is basically out in the open and they have to do it. There's no rules in place. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes at some of these programs. All of a sudden, star running back is out. Why is he out? No, it wasn't. No injury reports. Nothing's going on. All of a sudden, the guy doesn't play. Is he injured? He might be holding out for more money. We don't know. The NCAA, the programs need to have a fail-safe in place. They haven't done it. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, it's only going to get worse. You're going to see more and more players do this. And again, if Nico was Arch Manning, then you know what? He has the cards because Arch and some of these five-star guys are wanted by multiple programs. That's the difference between Nico, I want to say maybe an above-average quarterback, as opposed to an elite player in college sports.
So now let's talk about the football perspective. Nico Iamaleava had a 16-1 price to win the Heisman Trophy on Friday, one of the 10 best numbers in college football. It is still 20-1 to win the Heisman Trophy, 10th best number in college football right now. Because although, Joe, this is probably not the greatest statement on Iamaleava as a teammate, as a quarterback, as a leader, somebody will pay for that talent. We'll see exactly what the payment is and what that next school is. We talked about the Volunteers' win total for 2025 on Friday being 9.5. That number is dropped already by a full game to 8.5. And the Vols now are left to pick up the pieces, try to find a new starting quarterback in the middle of April. More on Football Full Circle up next.
The winning edge.
You've got it.
But not everybody has it, because not everybody listens to us.
But we're working on that.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. For the first time in NHL history, the league's U.S.-based original teams are all out of the playoffs in the same year. That's the Bruins, Rangers, Blackhawks, and Red Wings. A year after losing the tiebreaker for the last spot in the Eastern Conference, the Red Wings took a step back this season. They were eliminated from postseason contention on Saturday. The Blackhawks are the last-place team in the Central Division for the third straight season and finished ahead of only San Jose in the NHL. A season after winning the President's Trophy with the most wins in the league, the Rangers were eliminated during the final week of the regular season. Boston misses the playoffs for the first time since 2016. They'll finish with the fewest points in the Eastern Conference. The regular season wraps up this coming Thursday night with the playoffs starting on Saturday. The Canadians can clinch the last Eastern Conference wild card with a win over the Blackhawks tonight. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. That's the Sports Grid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Springfest deals are still in full swing at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. And get up to 40% off select major appliances. Plus, save up to $300 when you buy 2 or more select GE kitchen appliances of $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
You're listening to Sports Grid.
Spreading the winning edge far and wide.
Terrestrial, internet, TV, satellite, and don't forget our mobile app.
Face it.
The winning edge is everywhere.
Somewhere there's a squirrel frustrated he can't get a phone.
This is the Sports Grid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle. Now the football perspective of the big news this week in college football out of Tennessee. Nico Iamaleava is no longer the starting quarterback for Josh Heupel and his Volunteers. Where does it leave the Vols? What is Iamaleava's future now in CFB? Joe, let's start with Tennessee. I think they got a lot of a lot of correct praise on Saturday for making the decision that nobody, not even our starting quarterback, is going to hold us hostage, that no player or coach individually is bigger than a program. I think a lot of people were siding with Tennessee, believing that Josh Heupel made that correct decision. But Joe, just because it might be a righteous cause does not necessarily make it an easy one for the Vols. If you were to ask Josh Heupel right now or 2 months ago, hey, your starting quarterback is returning, how do you feel? He'd say optimistic, ready to build on last season, a college football playoff berth, and excited for the future. Well, now Josh Heupel has left to deal with guys he did not expect to be the starting quarterback and only 2 scholarship QBs on the roster. Joe, when you look at Tennessee's depth chart right now, redshirt freshman Jake Merklinger is going to more than likely be slotted into that number 1. And true freshman George McIntyre from just outside of Nashville, who threw a dime on Saturday during Tennessee's spring game to a large ovation inside Neyland Stadium. Those are the 2 guys. Tennessee's not in a great spot. Just because they made the correct or righteous decision, they're left, Joe, picking up the scraps for a starting quarterback spot for a team expected to contend for the SEC in the college football playoff. Again, a very precarious position to be in as well.
Yeah, and when you have inexperience at the quarterback position, it puts a lot of pressure, right? Merklinger is a redshirt freshman and McIntyre a true freshman, right? So you have very inexperienced quarterbacks going into potentially a very difficult schedule, road environments in the SEC, not easy. And again, right now, unless they get another transfer to come into Knoxville, I would pound that 8.5. That's just me, though, Ben. You know, I mean, What are they going to do? I mean, look, they lose Dylan Sampson, they lose Nico, they lose, defensive talent like Pierce. What does that mean for this team as a whole? What's the foundation of this team? You thought last year they were motivated and together as a unit. It's obviously not what we're hearing in terms of some of the reports. So 8.5 seems like a high total to me. I like Josh Heupel as a coach. I think he's got a great offensive mind. I think he can maybe pick up these pieces, but he's up against it now. He made the right decision for Nico for the benefit of his program, but it's unfortunate, in my opinion, he won't see those results to potentially 2 or 3 seasons out now.
And that's the issue, right, Joe? It's the rah-rah, yes, Tennessee, way to stand up for your program, way to stand up for all that is right in this sport. And they're still left to say, well, okay, but who's going to play quarterback for us in 2025 in the SEC? That remains to be seen. Now, Joe, for Nico Iamaleava, of course, this is not a great look for his role as a teammate, as a team leader, as a starting quarterback. And although he was rather mediocre, average to above average in his first full year as a starter in Knoxville, he has talent. And he is going to be a quarterback that when he enters the spring transfer portal on Wednesday, garners attention. Now, I think there would be the natural thought of, well, teams should be very hesitant to believe in this guy. But as we see in any level of sport, despite what your off-field issues might be, if you can sling it, you're going to get some attention and some teams that have some interest. Lisa, guys, some names that have already been tied to Nico Iamaleava. Bill Belichick in North Carolina. UCLA could be in the market as well. Where do you believe, if at any program, Iamaleava ends up, maybe by the end of this week?
Yeah, I mean, well, let's keep in mind, I also heard Notre Dame and Oregon potentially in the mix. It's got to be for the money. It's got to be a major program. Does North Carolina have that type of, cachet at this point with Belichick? It's possible. You said it. If you could sling it, you have an opportunity, right? I'll take it a step further. Sling it and sell it, right? Because I'm sure Nico's going to whatever team, he's visiting right now and saying, oh, this happened, that happened. They promised me this. They said this. It wasn't the right scheme. I was told I was going to chuck it, 40 times a game and we were a run-heavy offense. So, how hard can Nico and his family sell it to whoever's willing to listen? Is Notre Dame an option? I mean, I think Notre Dame would be a good fit for Nico. Why? Because they rely on defense and they rely on, running the football first and foremost. Again, I see either Notre Dame, Oregon. Who else? I don't think anybody in the SEC would take a shot. I'd be shocked if somebody within the conference does, but we'll see.
So that's a part of it as well, Joe. Based on SEC to SEC transfer protocol, if Nico Iamaleava were to join another SEC program in this spring transfer portal window, he would have to sit out a year. He would need to go to another conference to be immediately eligible for 2025. That will be a thought. As for Notre Dame, Steve Angeli, who we saw play in the college football playoff, is their presumed starter right now. I think Oregon is set with Dante Moore. I don't think they want to wade into these waters. At North Carolina, a little bit of a different story. Might Bill Belichick looking to make a splash in his first year take this on? And Joe, from the odds perspective, the Volunteers win total was 9.5. The under had the juice on Friday at -156. It has dropped by a full win, 8.5. Under still has the juice. The Vols had the fourth best price to win the SEC, around +850. It is now 16-1 on Tennessee. But for Nico Iamaleava, again, a 16-1 price to win the Heisman Trophy before the weekend. It's still only 20-1. It's the 10th best number. Again, the projection, the prospect still remains rather optimistic for him as a quarterback. And why, Joe? I think somebody will take a shot on him, even if they do have the right to be cautious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at some of the teams. I think an ACC team would be in the mix. Would Clemson be in the mix? I know with Klubnik, but, you talk about Miami and Carson Beck in that situation. It's crazy. North Carolina's win total, Ben, is 7.5, and it's juiced now to the under at -115. I mean, again, Could he elevate that program to 9 wins?
Sure.
It's possible, right? With Bill Belichick, you need a veteran to understand the scheme, and it seems like his girlfriend is potentially on the sidelines making some calls as well, if you saw the video that played out over the weekend.
I did, and I do, and we know that Jordan is involved. A 20-1 number on UNC right now to win the ACC title in Belichick's debut year, not only in Chapel Hill, but in college football. You would have to think that number grows substantially shorter if, and it's still a very large if, Iyame Leava makes his way to Chapel Hill. All right, Joe, as we transition now to the National Football League, some really sad news yesterday from the NFL or college football perspective. Former LSU star wide receiver Kyron Lacy was found dead via an apparent suicide on Sunday morning or late Saturday night. Very, very sad news for the former LSU wide receiver who earlier this offseason was charged with negligent homicide as he was involved in a car accident, Joe. But still very, very sad for Kyron Lacy, for the LSU football family. A prominent draft prospect entering the college football season in 2024 was found dead by authorities late Saturday night.
Yeah, sad circumstances. We know about the off-the-field issue that happened right at the end of the regular season. And, during the Super Bowl, I have a lot of contacts down in Baton Rouge, and they had said that, there was some positive information potentially that could come out of this grand jury and this investigation. And it's unfortunate that Kyron Lacy couldn't wait for that. He took his own life. Sad. We wish the family, our condolences, and just hate to see these situations play out.
Very, very unfortunate. More on Football Full Circle comes your way on the other side of the break. We will talk more news around the National Football League up next here on FFC and SportsGrid Radio.
Saying every SportsGrid listener is a legend, but you might start thinking about who's going to play you in the movie. Just saying. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg. Family, friends, and the public will remember George Foreman during a memorial service in his hometown of Houston. George Foreman IV, one of the 5 sons of the boxing legend, along with Houston Mayor John Whitmire and others, are expected to speak at the service today. A man is facing charges after authorities say he broke into the Pennsylvania governor's mansion in the middle of the night, set a fire that left significant damage, and forced Governor Josh Shapiro, his family, and guests to evacuate the building during the Jewish holiday of Passover. Firefighters put out the fire early Sunday morning and no injuries were reported. The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Cody Ballmer, was arrested nearby later in the day. President Trump's doctor says he is fully fit to serve as commander-in-chief as the White House released results Sunday of Trump's recent physical exam. The 78-year-old Trump is 20 pounds lighter since his checkup as president in 2020. Trump turned 79 on June 14th. I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
Spring is here and Kohl's has everything you need to celebrate it in style. Find fresh looks the whole family will love for all your events and get-togethers this season. Plus, save an extra 15% on some of your favorites and earn Kohl's cash. There's so much to love about spring, and big savings on great styles is one of them. Find them now at Kohl's and Kohl's.com. Select styles. Offer ends April 19th. Kohl's cash and coupons do not apply to Sephora at Kohl's. Exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs. You sound very calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to handle the busy holiday season, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees. Ooma. Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Ask any player and they'll tell you any advantage is important.
That's where we come in.
SportsGrid delivers gaming strategies and analysis 7 days a week.
The winning edge.
It's your advantage to more winning
more often.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle. It is FFC, a week and a half away from the 2025 NFL Draft. And Joe, an interesting report came out on Friday afternoon about Saints starting quarterback Derek Carr. Of course, there was some conversation entering this new era in New Orleans, now led by first-time head coach Kellen Moore. Would Derek Carr be the starter? Would he be what the Saints are looking for at the quarterback spot in 2025 and beyond? He is under contract in New Orleans through 2026. Joe, there were some reports that based on a joint AC sprain that Carr suffered in the 2023 NFL season and really did not have any lingering issues with in 2024, that shoulder injury was causing some concern this offseason. The Saints start their offseason program under rookie head coach Kellen Moore today. And Joe, as the report states, some of the 2025 season and the status for Derek Carr now a little bit up in the air. That is very intriguing, especially given where the Saints are drafting 9th overall in 10 days from now in Green Bay.
Yeah, and are they more now aggressive based off the report of where Derek Carr is? Maybe they were content in terms of sitting number 9 overall, but based off the situation where Carr might not be available for half the year, full year, or, let's say first half of the season, are they going to pull the trigger to move up into the top 5 or maybe even into the top 2? I mean, that's what we have to see right now. And again, I think these odds in terms of the top 3 picks are still in play for potentially Shedeur Sanders. We'll see exactly how New Orleans attacks it. But I think you have to be, out there and cognizant of the fact that now New Orleans potentially is in a race with Pittsburgh to get Shedeur Sanders at this point.
Yeah, and it's really interesting, Joe, as more betting markets have become available here just about 10 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft. Now, we have shared the numbers on the team to draft Shedeur Sanders for quite some time. We talked about a lot of movement in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers and a number that I had bet on. Well, the Saints were always the favorites to draft Shedeur Sanders. That price was closer to plus 270. After this news around Derek Carr, for the Saints to draft Shedeur Sanders is very close to even money, plus 105 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Joe, we have shared the odds to be a top 5 pick. Shedeur Sanders still at just plus 230, but the odds are now out to be a top 10 selection. Shedeur Sanders in minus money at minus 210. All of those markets in congruency would allow you to believe that New Orleans could be aggressive and draft Shedeur Sanders 9th overall. It also just makes common logistical sense, right? New head coach, rookie head coach, known for his offensive excellence, drafts a rookie quarterback. The two pair together, a long partnership to be had. And unlike some of the other teams, Joe, that we have highlighted that are QB needy, right? Outside of the Tennessee Titans, who are going to draft Cam Ward, it appears. The Browns have made some moves, at least in the acquisition of Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. The Giants have signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. The Raiders have signed or traded for and extended Geno Smith. Derek Carr might be the guy right now in the Big Easy, but that contract is not like they just extended him this offseason or last offseason. When they brought him over after Las Vegas got rid of him, they gave him a new deal that does tie him to the franchise through 2026. And there's a lot of cap money that has to be owed to Derek Carr. But it's not like, Joe, this just happened and would make drafting a quarterback at 9th overall revolutionary by any means.
No, not at all. And you're absolutely right, is that, Derek Carr plateaued. You're right. You know what you get with Derek Carr. You can only potentially get to a certain level with him at the helm. And it makes sense for Kellen Moore and the organization to draft a young quarterback that could elevate the organization to challenge not just for an NFC West champion, NFC South championship, but an NFC championship overall, right? And get to the Super Bowl like Drew Brees did. Again, they thought they had some upside with Spencer Rattler. We'll see potentially what transpires in the new scheme, but he wasn't the answer last year either. So now you have the opportunity to take at least a top 10 talent, whether it be Shedeur or somebody else that you value. You have that option. Don't screw it up. And now, are you more aggressive to potentially get into the top 5 to make sure that you get Shedeur ahead of Pittsburgh? That's what we'll see play out over the next 10 days.
Joe, on Thursday, we could officially call it 2025 NFL Draft Week, right? 1 week out from the draft. where we stand right now, 1 week and some change. Still, all 32 NFL franchises hold on to their originally scheduled first-round pick. That includes New Orleans. That includes Pittsburgh at 21st overall. Another new market, Lisi, guy that has opened up is to be a first-round pick. And you can find a couple of names there that are interesting. Amarion Hampton, the running back out of North Carolina, minus 1,100 to be a first-round pick. With Ashton Genty favored to go to the Raiders at 6th overall, well, that would tell you we're at least seeing multiple running backs in the first round. And we expect to see multiple quarterbacks more than likely in the top 10. But how about a third QB? That has been the question. Who has the 7th best price and in pretty hefty minus money to be a first-round pick? Ole Miss's Jackson Dart at minus 320. Joe, if you were to follow those odds, with how heavily favored that number is, we would expect Jackson Dart to be a first-round selection. And really, once you get past the Saints at number 9, you got to get all the way to the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 21 for even a team you would consider using a first-round pick this year on a quarterback. The odds makers are thinking that we see 3 quarterbacks in the first round in just over a week.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we'll see, right? You know, we've always been on this clock and say, you know, teams will reach up if there's a question mark or an uncertainty. Better to get the 50-year option out of the rookie guy and the QB, right, than anybody else if you think he could potentially have some upside, right? Well, you know, the Ravens did it with Lamar Jackson. Look at how that played out at number 32 overall. We'll see if Jackson Dart is the guy.
Well, you will see if that is the case. By the way, another player that accepted an invitation to Green Bay to be a part of the NFL draft, Alabama's QB and Jalen Milroe, a plus 125 price for the former Crimson Tide signal caller. We'll discuss even further up next on FFC.
Luck is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the ticket.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi. Then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Imagine combining the exciting investment opportunity of cryptocurrencies with the power of artificial intelligence to maximize your IRA, 401k, or other investment funds. Listen, if you're looking for ways to accelerate your retirement growth, Block Trust IRA has market-leading strategies and solutions for all levels of investors, from $1,000 to millions. And they partner with Bitcoin Magazine's #1 crypto trading fund in the world to maximize your returns. Plus, their team of IRA specialists is here to help you roll over your IRA or qualified retirement account to the new world of cryptocurrency investments. So make this free call right now to set up your account and learn more.
800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. 800-434-5313. That's 800-434-5313.
Think of us as your cool roommate that has this innate gift of somehow always picking winners and never bugs you about doing the dishes or paying rent. Sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
Get the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to Football Full Circle with Joe Lisi and Ben Stevens.
Live right here on Football Full Circle, it is FFC. Joe, in the countdown to the 2025 NFL Draft, plenty more odds markets available for our opening round, a week from Thursday in Green Bay, Wisconsin. One, it's fun because there's more wagers to be had and bets to be won. But two, it also paints a better picture of what we can expect on the opening night in round number one. For a long time, we had just the number one overall pick odds, number two overall pick, number three overall pick. Now we have everybody in the top five. Fourth overall pick odds in fifth overall pick odds. Of course, Joe, nobody has traded a draft selection yet. So at fourth overall, it's the New England Patriots. Fifth overall, the Jacksonville Jaguars. To go fourth overall, the LSU left tackle and blindside blocker Will Campbell is a minus 170 favorite. Joe, for a while, after a dazzling combine performance out of Missouri's Armand Membu, he was thought of to be the favorite to be the first O-lineman drafted. It is now Will Campbell in front of Membu, which makes me very happy because when I was in the Great Garden State just 2 weekends ago, I believed in Campbell, and I bet him at a minus 110 price. Membu was minus 120 on Will Campbell to be that first O-lineman off the board. The odds are kind of shaping up for that to be the case.
Yeah, and again, we talk about Will Campbell throughout most of the regular season. At one point, I think through November or late October, he didn't allow a sack on Garrett Nussmeier, right? So that's what you want. He's an elite pass blocker. He's strong, a weight room type of guy. You know, bench press 225, I believe 28 total times. Just second best in terms of the NFL draft for offensive linemen. So that's what you want to see. Campbell is an elite blocking type of talent. So it's going to come down to what team believes he has the best technique. And I know the arm size and arm length is going to be a factor, but I still think he's the best left tackle. We'll see.
Yep, I would agree, Joe. He's a minus 170 favorite. That is Campbell to go fourth overall right now. Fifth overall, also a slight minus money favorite. That would be the interior defensive lineman out of Michigan, a game record from the interior in Mason Graham, minus 160. Of course, the Jags, a new head coach. That's Liam Cohen, hoping to reinvigorate what Trevor Lawrence can do at the quarterback spot. So that's pretty much taken care of. Might they add defensively first and foremost? Mason Graham out of Michigan, minus 160 to be that fifth overall selection.
They're getting rid of Evan Ingram, right? Do they take a shot? And I'm not saying, look, Liam Cohen's an offensive mind, right? And we saw, his ability to, out-game play. Do they take a shot? And I'm not suggesting. We just seen tight ends like, we saw Kyle Pitts go fourth or fifth overall to Atlanta a few years ago. Ty Warren? Is Ty Warren potentially number six outside of Mason Graham? Look, I know Mason Graham is a run stuffer. He's a main cog in terms of the middle, big body, and they need all the help they can get. But Liam Cohen's still an offensive mind, and losing Christian Kirk and obviously Ingram, do they pull a trigger on a versatile tight end in the top 10?
It's interesting, Joe. If it's not there at number 5 overall, and I don't think it will be, I think if it's not Mason Graham, then you might see Armand Membu go as they try to just protect their most prized asset in Trevor Lawrence, who has dealt with some injuries these last 2 years of his National Football League career. You really start to get a picture with the top 10 draft odds of who is likely to be a top 10 selection, where things might go from there. Ashton Genty, minus 1350 to be a top 10 pick. The Raiders are the odds-on favorite at 6th overall to draft Genty. Jalen Walker, the outstanding edge rusher out of Georgia. We know how good being a Georgia D lineman has fared the last few years, both collegiately and as it translates to the NFL, minus 750 to be a top 10 pick. Will Campbell, minus 430. Armand Membu, if he is not the first O-lineman gone, Joe, will probably be a top 10 pick at minus 270. We talked about Shedeur Sanders. And then that brings us to Tyler Warren at minus 180. He is the 6th and final player, as the odds market see it, Joe, to be a top 10 pick with a minus money price. That would basically be the top 10 as we look at it when you include Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, and Travis Hunter. 1, 2, 3. That's interesting if Tyler Warren is a top 10 pick, and where might exactly he go?
Yeah, it's crazy. We'll see. He's a dynamic talent. Somebody will take a shot, but what a difference a year makes. Last year at this time, it was Williams and Pierce, potentially 1 and 2 overall. Where are they now?
Good point, Lisi guy. Good point. He is Joe Lisi. I'm Ben Stevens. Football Full Circle returns tomorrow, noon Eastern time on Sports Grid Radio.
Now you've done it. You found the advantage for gaming, odds, and more. But we call it the winning edge for short. This is the Sports Grid Radio Network.